Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Wednesday morning to you all. Hope you guys are having a great start to your day, a great week so far as we're halfway through it and rolling on through it. Got you an update on what is going to unfold for your weather today. I'll give you a brief update on what's going on in the tropics. Not a whole lot's changed from last night. In fact, really nothing at all has really changed. But we're going to give you an update and we'll see what things look like. A couple interesting features on satellite out there in the Atlantic for sure, Southwest Atlantic. So if you guys have not subscribed, consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. I forgot to mention this last night in the community post last night. I mentioned that I got a P.O. box in the making. I've already reserved it. Just got to get up to the post office and finalize everything. So I will have a P.O. box address to give you guys if some of you folks are old school and want to just send letters, send things, suggestions, or just anything you want me to pray about, or just want to keep things private and just want to send things to me, that will be open. It's something I should have done a long time ago, and I will have that option up there, and I will check it weekly, and we'll get notifications sent to me through email when I have anything in the mail. So I will have that up hopefully by this time next week when I have time to get into town and definitely finalize everything in the post office. You folks know the post office can be a little tricky. You got to have a lot of patience. It's like the DMV. So, but anyways, hit me up on social media if you'd like. It's a great way to stay up to date. If you ever consider joining my channel, there's a tab right there. I've definitely dropped a couple members, but I understand, it's a tough world out there financially. People are strapped and everything's going up in prices. And so I get it, guys, but it is a way to support what I do here, and I really appreciate my members who do that and people who just view my stuff in general. If you guys got anything that I can pray about, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives others an opportunity to do so too. So let's get rolling. Water vapor loop right now, still an area of nice, comfortable, dry air stretching from Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee. You're waking up to pleasant conditions across this portion of the country, but you will gradually get that moist flow back into this area, and any kind of dry air over the next 24 hours will go away and will be replaced by some moist air, so more of a summer pattern setting back up. And it's been a nice few days for this area of the country. It never quite made it to my neck of the woods. I think there was a period yesterday morning where the dew points dropped into the mid 60s, and it was very comfortable for a couple hours before the southerly flow brought the humidity back up from my area. Now we're dealing with the swampy weather. A lot of beneficial rain falling across areas of the southeast this morning, the Carolinas, Georgia. We'll talk a little bit about that. But in general, we're still watching this disturbance and an interesting little upper level spin feature just south of Florida, between Florida and Cuba. As the tut has been pinched off. We'll get another look at this, and then we take a look at this too, which is our big blow up in convection. We'll see what this does today and see if it can get a little tricky and maybe form into something maybe named or something like that. But let's take a look at who could see what. General thunderstorms in the light green today up here in the northeast also, but there is a severe weather threat back again today for areas of the north central U.S., the northern plains, the Dakotas. You got a pretty large slight risk. Tornado threat, very small, but there up here for, Grand Forks, Fargo, very small area of northwest Minnesota, areas of eastern North Dakota. Wind threat will be there too. There's a hatch risk. So you got this 15% slither right here in the slight risk. That is a 15% chance of winds producing damaging wind gusts of upwards of 50 knots, which is around 55 to 60 miles per hour. And then you have this hatch region, which is a 10% risk. This is near Aberdeen, Pierce City, places like that, any small towns in between. 10% risk to see 65 knots or higher, which is pushing, 70, almost 75 miles per hour. So some of these storms can be intense where they do form, but they'll be very isolated in nature. Hail threat will be the biggest up here, where there will be a few lone supercells that really get going here, which will be the tornado threat too. But 15% chance to see 1 inch or diameter or larger hail. Then you also have a hatch region, which is the black outline. That is a 10% chance to see 2 inch or diameter or larger hail. So please be careful up there today for sure. National Hurricane Center latest update. This has actually dropped to a 10% chance to develop. So this is not likely to develop. It's going to be a wave that kind of brings a lot of moisture to the northern areas of the Lesser Antilles and then get into areas of Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, and eventually just bring probably just a little bit of some tropical moisture for the Bahamas. You got this. This is still not developed into a tropical storm. It just has not, but I really really have a good feeling that it will within the next 24 hours, but we'll see what happens. And then you have this booger right here with a 40% chance to develop within 48 hours, a medium chance. This has not went up from last night. We'll still continue to watch this, and as it basically tries to bring some moisture to the Texas coastline, Louisiana coastline. But let's take a look at the southeast today, and we'll get a little bit closer look at what's going to happen in the north central U.S. today. But today, you guys are waking up to a lot of showers in areas of eastern Georgia, South Carolina. This will continue to be the case. Tropical downpours for all these areas throughout the morning hours, the afternoon hours, for sure. A lot of heavy rain. If anybody sees any rain in Florida, South Carolina, southern Alabama, southern Georgia, it can unload a lot of rain very quickly. We had a nice, steady, soaking rain last night for about 3 to 4 hours. We picked up about a little over a half an inch of rain, so it didn't rain a whole lot, but it was beneficial, and it was just that good rain that's just steady, that has time to soak into everything and not flood everybody out. But a lot of tropical downpours from the bayou, southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, the panhandle of Florida, the entire state of Florida, southern Georgia, South Carolina, even all the way down or up into southeast North Carolina today. And these will kind of be pulse in nature. They'll fire up. They'll be kind of outflow boundary driven, meaning maybe a big storm will pop up and it'll pop up an outflow. Then that outflow will pop up another storm. And that's just how these kind of setups work. Normally, they don't have a big time severe element with these storms, but definitely watch out. These could pop up right on top of you for sure. Up here in the northeast, maybe some showers, maybe a storm or two might drift into the northern sections of New York State, Vermont, and New Hampshire a little bit later this evening, and then eventually get into Maine, but nothing severe expected. Just a little bit of rain for you folks up there in the mountainous regions. And then the south central U.S. We'll get this a little further. We'll start this around late morning to lunchtime, and as you can tell, you got this little spin out here. This is throwing moisture into the coastline of Louisiana, Texas, and and not maybe a whole lot today. I don't think it's going to be a very wet day across areas who really need it in Texas today, but I think it's overnight tonight into tomorrow morning, the moisture can really enhance itself, and then we'll start to really get some tropical downpours into the coastline of Texas, and then maybe the coastline of western Louisiana. And then this is when we have to watch out for a small flood threat in this area of the country for sure as we're getting into tomorrow. But we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. We'll talk about that again tonight. The severe weather threat across the northern plains today. Some rain will kind of drift across northern Minnesota this afternoon. But then later this evening, maybe even by the time the sun's starting to set, 1 or 2 lone nasty supercells in northern North Dakota can really get going, and this is where our tornado threat will be. But I really think this will be fast-moving storms, 1, and 2, like I said, just a 2 to 3, 4 hour window of where these supercells can get going, and then they'll diminish with the lack of daytime heating, things like that. But down here, you could get some storms too. But just based off HRRR model, it looks really just showery, if you will, just very isolated in nature. But a strong storm or two can sneak into areas of Minnesota also through the late evening, overnight hours. And, here we go. We're getting into, midnight, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And this is some big time storms, maybe a supercell or two. Rotating thunderstorms. When I say a supercell, that means they have a chance to produce a tornado in large hail. Could make their way into northern Minnesota today. So please be careful for sure. Over here in northern Wisconsin, northern Michigan, maybe some showers drifting through the area, and not much to speak on in that region. Temperatures today will warm up big time across the south, especially South Dakota, southwest North Dakota, Nebraska will push over 100 degrees today, and just kind of a tropical air mass for the south. I think clouds and rain will keep you guys a little cooler today. It will still be very humid, and it still will probably feel kind of uncomfortable. But as far as temperatures, you're not going to have temperatures deep into the 90s, close to 100 like you did over the last couple weeks. Be very humid with temperatures in the 70s and 80s with rain and cloud-cooled air in this region of the country. But where you are not influenced by rain and clouds, you will warm well into the 90s. For instance, western Tennessee, northern Mississippi, areas of Texas, northern Louisiana. Even North Carolina, where you can get some peaks of sunshine, temperatures will soar into the 90s. The Ohio Valley still clinging to some pretty nice summer-like weather, 80s, some relatively drier weather, and the Northeast continues just to have nice weather, like y'all like to hold on to this time of the year. It seems like the transition to summer, just based off observations over the years, really is slow for the Northeast. You guys can speak on it more who live up there, but it always seems like it takes until deep into July, maybe even August, before y'all really start to get consistent 80s, if y'all ever do for certain parts of the Northeast. And then by the time you get to late August and September, you're starting to get cold fronts again. So anyways, this is what it's looking like temperature-wise. Let's look at the Southwest Atlantic, and then we'll go on and wrap this video up. This is what will likely be Tropical Storm Bonnie, and I still think this will be Bonnie. But I think it'll form into Bonnie in this area of the Caribbean right here. But it's starting to blow some convection up and look more consolidated. It really is. It's not just really broadened out, if you will. It looks a little better this morning. Probably the best it has looked, as what we call diurnal maximum is probably working its way on the storm. Meaning, like I said, we talked about this. It's called Dmax for short. It's basically when the temperatures at the surface of the ocean, of the water, or the most different between the actual temperature, the air temperature. So the air temperature could be, maybe pushing, let's see, the air temperature could probably be in the upper 70s, right? And the sea surface temperatures might be in the mid 80s. So there's a 6-7 degree difference that's causing that big time difference in temperature. Even though 6 to 7 degrees doesn't seem that big, that difference in temperature actually causes convection between the surface of the sea and the actual air temperature. So you check out this too. Nice little upper level spin. This was actually the tut that got pinched off, and it's just spinning away between basically in southern Florida and all the way down into Cuba, right over Key West. And it's actually popping up some big time storms and some convection across the northern Bahamas, and might make its way into the eastern shoreline of Florida. In fact, it will, and actually spark some tropical moisture. But this is a nice little, interesting look at little harmless feature. It really is. And then you have this 94L Invest that you can still see a little low-level little spin to it, but not much of one. And it's blowing up convection already this morning. We'll see what this can do a little bit later today and this afternoon. But that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. Appreciate y'all support in these slower times. I really do. And almost July. I'm looking forward to the second half of the year. The first half of the year was very successful, and especially the first 3 months of the year. I'm literally looking forward to what the second half of the month can do. So I've already accomplished all my goals really for 2022, but part of accomplishing goals is one-upping the goal that you accomplish. Life is all about getting better, right? So, and that's that. I live and die by that, by never accepting who I am, whether that's doing YouTube, whether that's my personality, whether that's doing the next right thing, being a better person, a better Christian, whatever it may be. I always try to be better than what I was yesterday. So anyways, hope you guys have an awesome day and a great rest of your week, and I'll be with y'all this evening.